Shalom Aleichem. The following has been brought to you by Rabbi Yehuda Shane, Administrator of Kashrus Anytime, a division of the Kosher Consumers Union, a 501c3 organization. We'll address now some things for Rosh Hashona, for Succos, butchers, some kashrus issues, the Tarnagal breed chicken, which basically has not gone away yet, etc. So we'll start basically Rosh Hashona items. You have to realize that Klein's, who's a Klein's Natural, is a very big distributor to a lot of the companies in the metropolitan New York area of dried fruits and all the nuts and everything else like it. But its quality leaves a lot to be desired, so you have to be very careful with it. Basically, dates, you have to check all dates you get, whether it's Majul from any other country it comes, even if it has Ashgacha. You have to split it open, the place where the pit is, even if the pit is out. You have to check on top of the membrane, under the membrane, for little worms. Look, if it looks a little bit different, you should keep it on a light box a lot easier, or you take a nice small bright flashlight, LED preferably, you'll be able to see right through it. Sometimes you see the little black things over there. Those little black things may be droppings from some of the insects also. Figs is basically impossible to check whether dried or fresh, regardless of what people tell you. It's you really have to be a expert to check it. So just leave the fig on the table and look at it. There is no reason why you have to eat it. You can make the bracha, you could say the yiratzins, even with looking at it. Raisins again a problem that they are infested. It's very long to check and to clean them. Basically, it takes hours and hours. Some raisins from certain companies, they soak them in hot water, so it may even be a problem of stam yenum, which is another concern besides infestation. So raisins also just leave it on the table and don't use it. Now leek. Leek has thrips and aphids. A lot of them hang out by there's like a seam in the middle, going sideways, if you see it over there. So usually that's where they hang out. Sometimes they're under the membrane. So even if you wash it well with soap and water and with a sponge, not always do you get rid of them. The ones higher up, it was always under the impression that they're usually in the lower half is where you find the thrips and the aphids. But lately it's been found that even higher up on in the green part and everything, it's also there. So a number of people, because of that, basically, if they don't feel comfortable, that they've seen exactly how to clean it, they'll just leave the leek on the table, and they're not going to eat it. They're not going to make a soup out of it or anything else like it. But if you feel comfortable doing it, soak it in a soap and water solution for 5 minutes. Sponge well on both sides, especially by that crease, and basically then rinse it very well. Figs, as we said, fresh and dry and everything is very infested. Don't use regardless of ashgacha. Black-eyed beans, whether fresh or frozen, are infested even if it has ashgacha. You have to soak it for hours until the outer skin becomes translucent, and then you can see through the thing. You don't want to bother with that. Don't bother cooking it yet, because sometimes when you cook it, the transparent skin came off, and then you're not going to be able to see if there's insects there or the insects came out, etc. Dates, we discussed what it is, and if it's Israeli dates, you have to make sure you take Tumas and Maestris, but you don't have to be Choshish for any oral issues. Raisins is, as we said, the problem is some raisins that was done with an Ada Hashgacha on the package. If others say that this is what was left over from the Ada, that I wouldn't really rely on it, and was found even the South African ones, the Dole, the Dalmanti, Sunmade, all the raisins have a thing. Now it is almost a Masura and a minute to have raisin challah, so I guess you'll have to make your challahs with craisins, not with raisins. Rosh Kavas, many lately have refrained Bechlal from eating lamb at all, because the Shechita and the Bedikas turned out to be very serious issues. The Shechita, they're doing it between 100 and 120 an hour, and they usually have two Shachten Boitkim there. One Shecht and the other one is Boidik, then they change around, one is Boidik, one Shecht. So usually by regular behemoths we have 15, 20, 25%, 30% is kosher. You have time, and you're shechting only 60 an hour. There's time to make a badik, because you have to do both sides of the lung, up and down, both sides, which takes time. But by sheep, your ratio of running of glut basically is in the area of 90%. And 90%, that means that one boidik has to check in an hour basically, because usually in a gases behem or daka behem, whatever else it is that you're checking, as soon as you put your hand in, you see right away you have a problem. You don't even bother checking, so you wasted no time. But over here, at most, you have 15, 20 seconds to be able to check both sides of a lung and decide what it is. And mind you, that the bedikas chutz they make on it is just really superfluous type of bedikas chutz, and they don't blow up the lungs by dakas and by lamb, this and that. So basically, because of the speed and the shoichet and the boydek really have no time to rest in between, they're working from one to the next one, and they have to check that many, which gives them 15, 20 seconds of a behemoth to check, which is unrealistic. So people stop eating the lamb completely, and what they do with the rosh kevis, they basically keep it on the table. Rosh dog, what people are doing is, the easiest way is you take a smoked fish, a little smoked whitefish, cut off the tail, and the question is till where rosh goes. Really, anything past that is rosh, because a lot of people, especially children, they don't like to take some of the fish from the head, this and that. So, but really, once you cut off the tail, the rest of the fish is all really called head. So you take from any part of the fish, and you give it from the smoked fish. It's a lot more reasonable. You have no problem with it, etc. Pomegranate. To de-seed the pomegranate, cut across the width, turn it upside down, tap the outer shell with the back of a heavy spoon, and the seeds fall right out. Celery has sometimes leaf miners, so you look good at the celery. It's usually in the parts that are the darker green. It has translucent tunnels, which if you see those kind of wavy tunnels on either side of it, by the darker green ones, you have to cut that away. Lettuce, romaine, or cabbage, basically you should really only use the Positive or Kosher Garden brand. Those are the only brands that were consistently found to be insect free. If you want to do your own cabbage for whatever it is, for stuffed cabbage or anything else like it, buy a fresh cabbage, take out the core, core it out, put it into the freezer for 48 hours, take it out, rinse it under cool water, not warm water, because warm water will make the insects stick to it. So let it thaw out first for a while, then separate the leaves, rinse both sides very well, and once it was frozen, all the insects basically lose their grip on the cabbage, and basically you can rinse it like that and have it. That's if you make the stuffed cabbage, then because the cabbage turns out to be very soft. If you want to make coleslaw or something like that, you really can't use frozen cabbage, so you should buy the sliced cabbage from Positive or Kosher Garden. Blueberries, whether fresh, frozen, dried, or made into a filling, are all infested with scale insects, with mites, with maggots, etc., including all ashgachas. Really, you should not use it. Papaya is a berry priadama, and whoever makes a oita should know that it's Vade Orla. Even in Chutzlar, it's Vade Orla is also. Pineapple, others want to say it grows on a tree and it's eight. It's not. There's no Orla issue, and basically it's Hadoma. Spinach does have thrips, leaf miners, and aphids, etc. Orange juice, all orange juice, regardless of which hashgacha it has, all have scale insects, and orange juice must be filtered with a 100 mesh filter, which we have available over here in Lakewood by us. If you want to get it, our number is 732-364-8046. Now we'll go basically to some Succos things. Contrary to factual popular belief, factually in the real world, there are practically no estrogen that are vade built-in merkavim. The ones from the Ada and the ones from Yanev are basically, you call them vade merkavim toldes merkav. The Becheskes told us Murkav, they're not, there is no such thing. All of them are telling you Becheskes built in Merkavim, because nobody will say built in Merkavim, because there basically is almost practically no such a kind of thing as Becheskes as built in Merkavim. They'll call them Becheskes built in Merkavim, but they're really most of them Becheskes Merkavim. There was a shir given in the Lakewood Courtyard this past week by one of the renowned experts of the world of Esrogim, and he concurred with the above. We have on our podcast, we have two podcasts about the Sroigim, Merkavim, built-in Merkavim, etc., which I'm not going to explain all of them over here, basically. But basically, the ones that are the most miyuchas as being built-in Merkav is the Chazonish, Bravman, Kivalevitz ones, or the Taman and Moroccan ones, if you know that they were kept by firmer people and you have no problem of the yichus of them, etc., etc. And then also as Roigem from Halper and Lefkowitz is chazonish to be a sign as Roigem, but we don't know what the VSI was basically based on. Hadassim, you'll be able to get the famous Shane Brisk Hadassim, which will be available this year again at 1140 Forest Avenue, 732-363-7979. They're not cheap, but basically Hadassim is the hardest thing to find the right one. That should be mishulish completely around and on the corner and everything else like it. I've been supplying these Hadassim basically to the big Medagdigim for the past 15-20 years. I'll have it, but basically, don't feel no obligation. Go buy the package ones, etc. Now a lot of butcher departments in the Lakewood and other places, they'll have beef, poultry, and everything from many different things. Certain people are makbid because of kashrus; they want to have only certain brands. But the butchers don't clean their equipment or their tables or their knives in between one brand and another one. So actually, what you're getting is Russian roulette. You don't know which one it is, and the same problem happens when the ones are selling Beis Yosef meat, which over there it's a more serious problem. It's not just chumras, basically. Sfardi, that's makbid and Beis Yosef, which they should be besides the Moroccans, basically is getting things that are ungeschmiert with non-Beis Yosef meat, etc., which is a very, very big problem. So basically, you should check with your butcher. You want to have that he should give you your meat from what was cut in the beginning of the day, or that they clean down in between. But if the butchers will be the consumers, the educated kosher consumers will tell the butchers this is what they want to have, they'll give it to them. So basically, you have like this bingo in Lakewood and in Borough Park. They only carry Birdsboro chicken and Birdsboro meat, so you really don't have a problem. The only ask you would have is by the Beis Yosef to make sure they have that separated. Epstein's, I believe, carries also these kind of things, and I heard that he cleans in between. They told me also that Evergreen cleans the things and keeps everything separate. And Kosher Village will the first part of the day will do the Beis Yosef, and then they will do the other meats. Basically, I'm not sure if they clean in between the other meats or not, but basically, if you ask for it, basically, and they can't do it, basically, take your business someplace else. Corn on the cob, fresh or frozen, is always infested, besides baby corn, and contrary to a lot of unreliable statements by many of them that say that it's basically not infested or whatever else it is, the ones that understand B'dika still know that it's infested. There's a hotel in New Hampshire, basically, which is not recommended place to eat. It's an unreliable hashgacha. They do a lot of advertisements over here in Lakewood and New York, etc., etc., and they are very big problems. Dole raisins may have a problem of stam yenam as they soak them in warm water. Mezuzahs, check if the restaurant or caterer toivel the utensils. Also check if they have mezuzahs on all doors. There's a question by poskim if one makes a bracha for a mezuzah by a caterer or restaurant, but they all agree that a mezuzah has to be mounted on all doors. It definitely is a very, very, very big protection. So make sure that you don't go into a place that didn't toivel that kalim, as Moshe says you're not allowed to eat from untoivel kalim, even though it's by commercial places, and make sure that these places have mezuzahs. There are numerous unqualified shatnez testers in Monsey and in Lakewood. It's called Monsey Test Center in Monsey is not reliable. Lakewood Shatnez Specialist on Butelli Avenue is not reliable. Shatnez Mabel are all unqualified, and their garments should be rechecked by qualified Boitke Shatnez. Make sure that the Shatnez you take it to is a member of the International Shatnez Testers, because they are very well trained and they keep track of every one of them, etc. And the fish chevra of Monsey and Lakewood are not reliable for kasher information. Most kasher certified the halachic opinion that worms in the flesh of fish are not also, as Rav Moshe Bayed, the undisputed world's expert on infestation, has been advocating all the years. Rav Moshe Sternberg writes in his sefer that even the Eda considers it only a hiddur at most to take out the things, and even in the Eda's fish they usually find these small worms here and there. But basically, the fish chevra decided that anybody that pledges allegiance to the not to use any fish that has any worms in it. Der hashgach is always called leila, which happens to be a false thing, and basically it has nothing to do with it, but because basically this whole thing. So if you take chumash and idurim, basically on the end, basically you're left with avodah zarah balpar. And Rav Shmuel Vosner said he referred to these kind of Rabbanim Lech and Dayanim Lech that never had Shemesh by Alter Rabbanim. Therefore, they beget their Ksil B'Choshech Hoylech, like the anti-vaxxers, the alternative medicine, the fish chaver, the chimras, the Yehudim, the Peleg, and the Hoven newspapers, and Kol Tov, good.